Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the ESV Nightshade, Earth's most advanced stealth vessel, as it drifted silently through the outer reaches of the Arcturus system. The ship's quantum camouflage system made it completely invisible to both conventional sensors and the naked eye. Even its heat signature was masked, dispersed across space-time in a way that had taken humanity decades to perfect. Another fleet movement, Commander. Lieutenant James Harrison reported from his sensor station. That's the third Vardaxian battle group this week passing through this sector. Sarah nodded, her dark eyes tracking the massive ships as they pushed through space, their engines blazing bright against the backdrop of stars. The Vardaxians were one of the most aggressive species humanity had encountered since achieving faster-than-light travel, not that they knew humans were watching them. For 50 years, Earth had maintained its facade of being a relatively primitive civilization, barely capable of interstellar travel. Meanwhile, they had built a network of stealth ships like the Nightshade, gathering intelligence on every spacefaring race in their sector of the galaxy. The deception had required incredible discipline and coordination, but it had given humanity an unprecedented advantage. They knew their potential enemies far better than anyone suspected. Run a full spectral analysis on their engine signatures, Sarah ordered. Something about their movement pattern feels off. The ship's quantum AI, Araya, processed the request instantly. Holographic displays materialized around Sarah, showing detailed breakdowns of the Vardaxian ship's energy outputs, trajectories, and communications patterns. Commander, Araya's calm voice filled the bridge. I'm detecting unusual variations in their subspace wake. The fleet appears to be carrying significantly more mass than their normal configurations would suggest. Sarah's expression tightened. The Vardaxians were hunters by nature, apex predators who had evolved from pack-hunting creatures. Their entire civilization was built around the concept of strength through superior force. If they were moving unusually large amounts of mass through this sector, cross-referenced their trajectory with all known Vardaxian colony worlds and military installations, she commanded. The holographic display shifted, showing a three-dimensional map of the sector. A red line traced the battle group's path backward and forward. Oh hell, Lieutenant Harrison breathed. Commander, they're on a direct course for the Centauri Neutral Zone. The Centauri Neutral Zone was officially recognized as a buffer between various spacefaring civilizations. Unofficially, it was humanity's first line of defense, carefully maintained through a complex web of diplomatic agreements and mutual defense pacts with smaller alien species. If the Vardaxians were planning to move through it, ARIA deep scanned those ships. I want to know exactly what they're carrying. The AI's response was immediate and troubling. Commander, I'm detecting signature patterns consistent with siege weapons. Based on their configuration and mass, these appear to be Planet Cracker-class weapons. Sarah felt her blood run cold. Planet Crackers were banned by every major spacefaring civilization. They were designed to shatter a planet's crust, rendering entire worlds uninhabitable. The fact that the Vardaxians had them meant only one thing. They were planning to start a war. A big one. Send a quantum-encrypted burst transmission to Earth Command, Sarah ordered. Priority Alpha. Include all our sensor data and my preliminary analysis. The Vardaxians aren't just posturing anymore. They're preparing for full-scale invasion. As ARIA prepared the transmission, Sarah watched the Vardaxian ships continue their journey, completely unaware they were being observed. Humanity had spent half a century playing the long game, appearing weak while building their strength in secret. Now it seemed that policy of patience and preparation would be put to the test. Message sent. Commander, Araya confirmed. Earth Command acknowledges receipt. They're requesting we maintain observation and prepare for possible Phase 2 initialization. Phase 2. Sarah felt a grim smile form on her face. Phase 2 meant humanity would finally show its true capabilities. The Vardaxians, like so many other aggressive species, had dismissed Earth as a primitive, barely spacefaring civilization. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Lieutenant Harrison, begin charging the quantum core. If we're going to phase 2, I want this ship ready for anything. She turned to address her entire bridge crew. Everyone, this is what we've trained for. Humanity has spent 50 years preparing for this moment. Whatever happens next, we make sure Earth's first real steps onto the galactic stage are ones nobody will ever forget. The crew responded with crisp acknowledgments, their training kicking in as they prepared for what might come next. The Nightshade continued its silent watch, a ghost ship carrying the weight of humanity's future among the stars. In the vast darkness of space, other stealth ships like the Nightshade maintained their vigil, Earth's silent watchers preparing for the moment when humanity would finally reveal its true face to the galaxy. The question wasn't if that moment would come anymore, but when. And the Vardaxians' actions suggested it would be very soon indeed. The Grand Assembly Hall of the Galactic Concordat buzzed with tension as Ambassador Marcus Way approached the central podium. Representatives from 100 spacefaring civilizations watched with varying degrees of interest as the human diplomat, dressed in deliberately simple robes, prepared to address the emergency session. The massive Vardaxian delegation dominated one section of the hall, their scaled forms draped in elaborate military decorations. Ambassador Krevtar, their lead diplomat, didn't bother hiding his disdain as the human began to speak. Honored representatives, Marcus began, his voice calm but carrying clearly through the vast chamber. Earth brings evidence of serious treaty violations in the Centauri neutral zone. Our observation posts have detected unauthorized military movements, including weapons of mass destruction. A murmur rippled through the assembly. Marcus didn't mention that these observation posts were actually ships like the Nightshade, maintaining Earth's carefully crafted illusion of limited technological capability. Krevtar rose immediately, his massive form towering over his podium. The primitive Earth delegation dares to make accusations. Where is their proof? Their sensor technology can barely detect ship movements within their own system. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The Vardaxians were playing directly into humanity's strategy. We don't need advanced sensors, he replied mildly. Even our primitive technology can detect planet crackers when they pass close to our monitoring stations. The word planet crackers caused immediate uproar. The Centaurian delegation erupted in angry chittering, their crystalline forms flashing with agitation. The Arxer Collective's representatives began emitting warning pheromones. Even the usually stoic Skettle showed signs of distress. These are baseless accusations, Krevtar roared. The Vardaxian Empire would never violate the Concordat's weapons protocols. Marcus tapped his simple datapad, and holographic displays materialized throughout the chamber. They showed detailed scans of the Vardaxian fleet, highlighting the distinctive energy signatures of planet cracker weapons. These scans, Marcus continued calmly, were taken by various members of the Concordat. Earth simply compiled the data. We may be primitive by your standards, Ambassador Krevtar, but we understand the importance of cooperation and information sharing. This was the delicate part of humanity's plan. The scans had actually come from Earth's stealth fleet, but they had been carefully degraded to match the technological level of various mid-tier Concordat species. Each delegation would recognize their own sensor signatures in the data, making the evidence seem more credible. The Vardaxian ambassador's scales flushed with anger. You dare to fabricate evidence. The Earth delegation insults this assembly with these crude forgeries. If they are forgeries, came the crystalline voice of the Centaurian Prime Speaker, then surely the Vardaxian Empire would welcome a neutral inspection of their fleet. Krevtar's reaction was immediate and violent. The Empire does not submit to inspections. Our military movements are our own concern. Marcus watched the reaction ripple through the assembly. The Vardaxians were falling into every trap humanity had laid. Each outburst, each refusal, only strengthened Earth's position. Perhaps, Marcus suggested quietly, the Empire would accept inspectors from the Arxer Collective. They are, after all, your longtime allies. It was a calculated move. Earth's intelligence indicated that relations between the Vardaxians and the Arxer had been strained recently. The suggestion highlighted this tension while appearing to offer a reasonable compromise. The Arxer delegation stirred uncomfortably. Their lead diplomat, a being composed of shifting magnetic fields, spoke in carefully measured tones. The collective would be willing to perform such an inspection, in the interest of maintaining peace. Krevtar's expression showed barely controlled rage. The Vardaxians couldn't refuse their allies' offer without creating a diplomatic incident, but accepting would reveal their planet crackers. It was a perfect diplomatic trap. The Empire, Krevtar began, then paused as he received an urgent communication. His scales paled slightly. The Empire withdraws from this session to consult with our leadership. As the Vardaxian delegation stormed out, Marcus exchanged subtle glances with the representatives of several smaller species, ones that humans had secretly contacted and allied with over the years. Each gave nearly imperceptible signals of acknowledgement. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The rest of the session devolved into heated debates about military restrictions and neutral zone protocols. Marcus participated minimally, playing the role of a somewhat overwhelmed representative from a lesser power. Meanwhile, quantum encrypted messages flew between the Nightshade Earth Command and humanity's hidden allies. Hours later, in his private diplomatic chamber, Marcus received the message he'd been waiting for. The Vardaxian fleet had changed course, moving away from the neutral zone. They had backed down. For now. Phase 2 status. He asked his secure comm unit. Preparations at 97%. Came the response from Earth Command. All stealth fleet units in position. Allied species standing by. If the Vardaxians make a hostile move, we're ready. Marcus nodded to himself. Humanity's careful planning had bought them time, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Vardaxians wouldn't accept this diplomatic defeat quietly. When they struck back, and they would, humanity would be ready to show the galaxy exactly what they'd been hiding all these years. Maintain current status, he ordered. Let's see how our friends react to their first real setback in a century. As he prepared for the next round of diplomatic maneuvering, Marcus couldn't help but smile. The Vardaxians, like so many others, saw humans as primitive newcomers to galactic politics. They had no idea they were dancing to humanity's tune, step by carefully planned step. In the space around the Concordat's neutral station, dozens of cloaked human ships watched and waited, their crews ready for whatever came next. The diplomatic dance would continue until the Vardaxians either backed down completely or made the mistake humanity was actually hoping for, giving Earth a legitimate reason to show its true strength. The quantum alert ripped through Earth's hidden command center beneath the Himalayas. Admiral Elena Santos watched as holographic displays materialized, showing what everyone had feared. The Vardaxians had decided to call humanity's bluff. Multiple Vardaxian fleets just jumped into the Centauri neutral zone, reported Fleet Commander Jackson. They've dropped all pretense. Planet crackers are fully visible now. Message incoming. The sneering face of Supreme Commander Krevtar filled the main screen. He traded his diplomat's robes for full battle armor. Primitive humans, your interference in Vardaxian affairs ends today. You have one planetary rotation to surrender your colonies in the neutral zone. Resistance will result in extinction. Elena allowed herself a small smile. Chief Gardener, are the Titans in position? Yes, Admiral. All 7 of them. The Titans were humanity's masterpiece. Massive ships hidden in plain sight as mining stations and research outposts. Each one packed more firepower than an entire conventional fleet, their technology so advanced it would seem like magic to most species. They had never been used in actual combat. Until today. Send our response, Elena ordered. On screens across the Vardaxian fleet, a simple message appeared. Look up. Above the Vardaxian armada, space itself seemed to tear open. 7 enormous vessels shimmered into existence, their quantum crystalline hulls catching starlight in ways that defied physics. Each was easily 3 times the size of the largest Vardaxian dreadnought. This is Admiral Elena Santos of the Earth Defense Force. She broadcast on all frequencies. Those aren't colonies in the neutral zone. They're our forward bases. You've just trapped yourselves between them and our main fleet. Stand down. The Vardaxian commander's response was predictable. Open fire, full spread. Energy weapons and projectiles streaked toward the nearest Titan. They simply passed through it, the ship's quantum field redirecting the attacks into subspace. Interesting, Elena noted calmly. They actually think those are weapons. She opened a channel to all Titan commanders. Deploy the collectors. Massive arrays unfolded from each Titan, geometric patterns that seemed to bend reality around them. The Vardaxian fleet's weapons fire began curving toward these arrays, being absorbed and processed. What are you doing? Krevtar demanded, his scales pale with shock. Powering up, Elena replied simply. Thank you for the energy donation. Would you like to see what real advanced weapons look like? The arrays pulsed, and precision beams of concentrated spacetime shot out. They didn't destroy the Vardaxian ships. They simply disabled them, cutting through shields and defensive systems like they didn't exist. Impossible, Krevtar roared. Our shields are the strongest in the galaxy. We're the strongest, Elena corrected. 50 years ago, maybe. While you were busy building bigger guns, humanity focused on understanding the fundamental laws of physics. Your shields work by brute force. Ours work by bending reality. On her command screen, Elena could see the status of every disabled Vardaxian vessel. Not a single life lost. Perfect. This wasn't about destruction. It was about sending a message. By the way, she added, those primitive ships you've been detecting all these years. Decoys. Our real fleet has been watching you the entire time. The Nightshade sends its regards. As if on cue, dozens of stealth vessels decloaked around the Vardaxian fleet. Each one was a technological marvel, generations ahead of anything the Vardaxians had ever seen. This is your only warning, Elena continued. Earth is not primitive. We're not weak. We simply chose to wait and watch until we fully understood the galaxy we were dealing with. You can retreat now, return to your territory, and we can discuss this civilized way. Or, she let the threat hang there, unspoken. The Titan's arrays still hummed with captured energy, ready to disable more ships. Krevtar's response came through gritted teeth. The Vardaxian Empire requests diplomatic negotiations. Elena nodded. Wise choice. Ambassador Wei will contact your government within the hour. Santos out. As the transmission ended, Elena turned to her staff. Send word to our allies. Phase 3 begins now. It's time to reshape the balance of power in this sector. Across the galaxy, other species who had been secretly working with humanity began revealing their own hidden capabilities. The age of deception was ending. The real question was, how would the galaxy handle the revelation that humans weren't the only ones who had been hiding their true strength? In the neutral zone, the Titans maintained their vigilant watch, a visible reminder that the era of underestimating humanity was over. The real challenge, building a lasting peace in a galaxy that had just had its power structure upended, was just beginning. The Galactic Concordat's emergency chamber was barely recognizable. Where once the lesser species had been relegated to the outer rings, now they sat prominently alongside humanity's representatives. The Vardaxians and other former powers had been forced to accept a new reality, one where their assumed superiority meant nothing. Dr. Maya Patel stood at the central podium, her dark hair streaked with silver, representing not just Earth, but the entire Hidden Alliance. For 30 years, she had coordinated humanity's secret technological exchange program with supposedly primitive species. Today, those partnerships would reshape the galaxy. The crystalline collective was never as simple as you thought. She began, gesturing to the glittering beings who had always been dismissed as mineral-based curiosities. One of them shifted, revealing complex quantum circuitry running through its crystalline form. They weren't just silicon-based life. They were living quantum computers, processing power beyond anything you imagined. The Vardaxian representatives shifted uncomfortably as their former primitive neighbors revealed their true nature one by one. The mist wanderers you thought were barely sentient. Maya continued, nodding toward the swirling clouds of conscious gas that had been humanity's first secret allies. They can process information through every particle of their being. They've been recording and analyzing every diplomatic session for centuries. A mist wanderer coalesced into a perfect holographic replay of 100 secret meetings where the dominant species had plotted against each other. The evidence of countless treaty violations and conspiracies hung in the air like a deadly mist. Humanity didn't just hide our own capabilities. Maya explained. We reached out to other underestimated species. We shared technology, strategies, and most importantly, a vision. A galaxy where advancement wasn't measured by military might, but by the ability to coexist and innovate. The Arxur representative, their magnetic field crackling with agitation, rose to object. This is a violation of natural law. Power belongs to those strong enough to claim it. Does it? Maya asked softly. She gestured, and one of the crystalline collective members projected a visualization of quantum relationships throughout the galaxy. Everything is connected. Every species has something unique to offer. The truly strong understand this. Deep space imaging showed the true extent of the Hidden Alliance's network. Seemingly empty systems were revealed to house vast scientific installations. Primitive outposts transformed into advanced research centers. The galaxy's map was being rewritten in real time. The network isn't just about military power, Maya continued. It's about combining our unique perspectives. Human ingenuity, crystalline processing, mist wanderer observation, and dozens of other specialized capabilities. Together, we've made discoveries that none of us could have achieved alone. She paused, letting the implications sink in. We're offering membership to all species, including the former powers. But there are conditions. No more planet crackers, no more species supremacy. The age of empires is over. The age of collaboration begins now. The chamber erupted in chaos as the former dominant species faced their new reality. But Maya noticed something interesting. Many of their younger representatives seemed more intrigued than outraged. They had grown up questioning their society's aggressive philosophies. Your choice is simple, she concluded. Join us in building something greater than conquest, or remain isolated as the galaxy moves forward without you. Humanity and our allies have spent 50 years preparing for this transition. We can help you adapt, or we can leave you behind. In the space above the chamber, the Titans maintained their silent watch, their quantum crystalline hulls now revealed to be a collaboration between human engineers and crystalline collective architects. They were living proof of what cooperation could achieve. The network's unveiling marked more than just a shift in power. It was a fundamental change in how species would interact. The age of deception was over, but the real challenge was just beginning. Creating a truly cooperative galactic society would test everyone's commitment to change. As the session ended, Maya received a quantum-encrypted message from Admiral Santos. Phase 4 preparations are complete. If they accept our offer, we're ready to begin the technological integration. If they refuse, well, they've seen what we can do. Maya smiled. Humanity's greatest strength had never been their hidden technology. It had been their ability to bring others together, to see value where others saw weakness. The galaxy was about to learn that lesson, one way or another. 5 years after the network's revelation, First Speaker Chen stood in Earth's orbital command center, watching holographic feeds from across the galaxy. The transition hadn't been easy, but the results were undeniable. Where Vardaxian warships once prowled, joint research vessels now mapped quantum anomalies. Their natural hunting instincts, once used for warfare, had been redirected toward exploring scientific frontiers. Young Vardaxians worked alongside humans and crystallines, their aggressive energy channeled into pushing the boundaries of knowledge. Another breakthrough from the Centauri Research Hub reported Dr. Rodriguez, her eyes scanning quantum-encrypted data streams. The Mist Wanderers and Vardaxian tracking specialists have mapped dark matter flows across 3 sectors. It's already revolutionizing our understanding of spacetime. Chen nodded, remembering the struggles of those early days. Not everyone had accepted the new order peacefully. The Arxer Collective had tried to rally opposition, attempting to unite the old powers against the network. Their failure had been spectacular and enlightening. "Show me the Arxer Rehabilitation Project," he requested. The holographic display shifted to a massive space station orbiting a neutron star. There, former Arxer military leaders worked with human psychologists and crystalline logic processors to understand why their society had been so fixated on dominance. The project had been their own idea, a surprise that showed how species could change when given the chance. "Incoming transmission from the Deep Space Initiative," announced Araya, her quantum-enhanced consciousness now integrated with representatives from every member species. They found something. The display filled with images from the galaxy's edge, a massive structure of clearly artificial origin. It dwarfed even the Titans, its architecture unlike anything known to current species. Ancient, yet somehow still active. First speaker came the voice of Admiral Santos, now leading the initiative. "We think we found why so many species evolved toward aggressive expansion. This installation, it's some kind of behavioral modification beacon. It's been subtly influencing species development for millions of years." Chen felt a chill run down his spine. An intelligence test. "We think so. Only species that could overcome their programmed aggression would advance enough to detect and understand the beacon. We're not the first to pass, just the first in our sector for a very long time." This revelation vindicated the network's approach. Those species that had seemed primitive hadn't lacked capability. They had simply resisted the beacon's influence better than others. Humanity's greatest achievement wasn't their hidden technology. It was recognizing and nurturing that potential in others. "All network members are reporting in," Araya announced. "They're requesting a full council session to discuss the implications." Chen smiled. Just a few years ago, such a discovery would have sparked a war for control. Now, species that had once been bitter enemies worked together to unravel the galaxy's mysteries. The Titans, those symbols of humanity's hidden strength, had been transformed. Their quantum crystalline hulls now housed the most advanced research facilities ever created, their weapons arrays converted to scientific instruments. They were no longer needed as defenders. The network's combined knowledge and capabilities made conventional warfare obsolete. "Schedule the council session," Chen ordered. "But first, send a message to all network species. Tell them that everything we've built together, every partnership we forge, was exactly what we needed to face this moment. We didn't just evolve past aggression. We evolved towards something greater." As the message went out, Chen watched the real-time reactions across the network. Vardaxian scientists working on clean energy projects. Arxer philosophers developing new theories of social cooperation. Crystalline processors modeling solutions to age-old physics problems. Mist Wanderers teaching young species the art of patient observation. This was humanity's true victory, not conquering the galaxy, but helping it grow beyond the need for conquest. They were all evolution's children, finally learning to work together as a family. In the vast darkness between the stars, the ancient beacon continued its age-old task, but its influence was fading. The species of this galaxy had learned a better way. Whatever intelligence had placed it there would find, if they ever returned, that their test had produced something unexpected. A civilization built on cooperation instead of competition, on understanding instead of dominance. The age of hidden strengths was over. The age of shared discovery had begun.